All right, we are going to get started this beautiful Saturday morning. I am so excited to host our call this morning. We have some amazing friends and people that are going to share their journey and education with us today. We have Melanie Henry and her husband Eric, and they're going to go through their story today and their journey of how they became or how Melanie became a certified cannabis instructor. And I know she's got a lot prepared for us, and I'm not sure how long we're going to be this morning, but I know that you guys are going to love being a part of this call. And keep in mind too that it is being recorded so we can share it with others in the future. So thank you so much. It's just, I'm so excited, and it's such an honor to introduce you guys. So Melanie, go ahead and take it away and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Hi, I'm Melanie Henry, and this is my husband, Eric. Welcome to Canna 101. Like Eric said, I am a certified cannabis educator and health and wellness coach. And you might wonder how someone goes from certified educator to, I started out as a drug and alcohol counselor in 2011 is kind of this career. So you might wonder how someone gets to that. In 1999, I was in a traumatic car accident with at the time, he was my 5-month-old son. It resulted in a traumatic back injury that forever, this one moment in time changed my life forever. I was at the time married. I had 2 little kids. And then all of a sudden I had to rethink how I did everything because of the injury that I had sustained. In 2011, we're going to fast forward. At this time, I've seen from 1999 to 2011, I had seen every surgeon, orthopedist, doctor, pharmacist, pain management. If you chiropractor, if you thought you could help me and were available to me, I had talked to you. This accident resulted in, I've had shoulder surgery. I've had 4 back surgeries. When you rupture a disc in your spine, it creates this fluid, and that fluid puts a lot of pressure. And so they said, well, we'll just do a discectomy and that will take the pressure off. Well, there's a very slight chance that that will happen again. Well, I get to be the girl who had it done 3 times and finally had to have my spine fused with what they consider an H cage around the spine, and then 4 stainless steel screws to stabilize my low back. In 2011, I was doing a lot better. I had done all the drugs and the pharmacies, and there's a 2-year period when I'm having these surgeries that I have no memories of my children's life. And I was a single mom at this time of 2 little kids. So I was, the doctors were happy to put me on everything from OxyContin to methadone to muscle relaxers. And they told me, your life is now about managing pain. And I accepted that for a while. And at some point, the part of my brain just said, no, I'm not doing this anymore. And I don't ever recommend that you go off your medicine without your doctor's approval or help. But in my wiseness, I decided I was done. And it was a heck of a journey. And I started learning about nutrition and yoga. And I made all this progress that up until this point, no doctor had helped me make. And I wasn't constantly in pain, but I still wasn't well. Within that year, I actually met my husband, Eric. We met while we were in college later in life. And I was in school. I was getting my degree in drug and alcohol counseling. I was ready to graduate magna cum laude. I was crushing life, and I was managing. And then the flare-up hit. It was the worst flare-up I'd had in years. I had tried to just will myself out of it, but it wasn't happening. So I I talked to Eric and I made an appointment with a neurologist, and I was like, it's fine. We're fine. This sweet woman sat me down and explained to me that the pressure within my spinal column and the damage that I have, there was no surgical option to help me. I was so inflamed that had they done surgery, there was like a 98% chance of complete paralysis. And the only option that she could give me other than this surgery that would make me not able to walk was, we can put you back on medications, and we're going to order you a wheelchair so that you're prepared, because within the next year, we really don't think that you'll have the ability to walk. And it shook me in a way that I had done so much work. And I came home to my sweet hippie husband. And I had already, in this time of going to school, I had been living this odd Jane Goodall experience with my husband and his friends. I was going to school to be a drug and alcohol counselor, and I was engaged to a sweet stoner man who all of his friends participated in cannabis and whatnot. And I asked so many questions. I asked all the questions because I was so intrigued, because it didn't align with some of the information that I was learning in school. And so I have this flare up, and Eric says, let's try and get you on some quality medicine and see if it helps. What do we have to lose? And at this point, I had my ability to walk to lose, and being an athlete in my younger years, that was important to me, and it wasn't something I was willing to just accept. Eric got me medicine, and I slept for the first time in probably 3 years. I slept all night. That right there was huge. So we made the decision to move to Oregon. This is 2012. Oregon has a medical and a recreational program. So we moved to Oregon and tried to give me the best chance to have the best life I could. Being in Oregon was an experience that also changed my views and brought me to where I am today. It's kind of like living in Oz. I got to learn all the things. People there are very open and very sweet. People took me under their wings and helped me find medicine and taught me how to make medicine. So much so that my daughter and son and I had a small edibles business that we had while we were there. And my husband became a processor for a large cannabis processing there. They did hemp and cannabis. My daughter became his lab assistant, and all of a sudden we were a weed family. Had you told me that when I was 20 that would have been my life, I would not have agreed. We brought my 15-year-old son was with us, and he wasn't sure that this was the journey he wanted to be on, but he went. And after we'd been there I'd say about 6 months, he come home one day and he said, "I'm so glad we moved here." And I said, "Are you? You weren't really happy." And he said, "Yes, Mom, you sing in the kitchen again." Cannabis helped me reclaim my life. I read all the things that I could get my hands on. And as the days slowly passed, I began regaining my personality and finding joy. And not only did it help me, it began to change this narrative within our family. Both of us growing up in LDS households with parents who are still active, that was the devil's lettuce, and we were all going to go to jail, and that was bad. And then all of a sudden, this plant was helping someone that they very much loved right before their eyes regain themselves. I went from, at this time when we went to Oregon, I weighed almost 325 pounds from steroid shots and all of the things. And I started losing weight, and I got really interested in learning why. I have a very scientific driven brain, and I want to understand why all these things are happening. So I started reading all of the things, getting really educated, and really so that I had a firm grasp on what was happening within my own body. About 4 weeks before COVID hit the world, we were offered a job here in Southern Utah, and it seemed like a really great opportunity. So we took that. And by Valentine's Day of 2019, we moved to Southern Oregon. And
Utah.
So from Southern Oregon to Southern Utah. And then the world went sideways. We found ourselves in a new place. I didn't know a soul who lived here, and it wasn't like making friends was going to be easy. So I needed a purpose. So I started reading more and really diving into how could I make this a career? How could I help other people know they had a choice, because no one ever explained to me or gave me the opportunity to have a choice. I found the Cannabis Coaching Institute and fulfilled the requirements to become a certified cannabis educator and cannabis life coach. And it's really my passion to be able to share this education and help people understand and work through their biases using science, not just things that we've heard or what our uncle said or what we read in some magazine. It's really important to me to share that it took me 12 years to learn what I know. And I'm excited to have tailored this class and for Eric and Nate to give me this opportunity to really help you understand some of the really cool science that what we do know about cannabis, and help displace some of your maybe biases. Eric, Did you have anything you wanted to add to that's kind of my side of our story?
Yeah, on my side, just when we went to Oregon in the first place, I started making concentrates, shatter, diamonds, all the pretty things you see at the dispensaries. Some of it I came up with for the first time just on our own, so it was a really fun environment. But then I went from doing small scale extraction to massive scale, 10,000 pounds, 20,000 pounds a day of extraction, starting out biomass. So I've stayed in this journey since the very beginning, and I've seen so many people have their lives entirely changed by cannabis. And this year I'm going to turn 50, and I'm not on one single medication.
Yeah, neither of us.
I feel great. So, go ahead.
So I'm going to share my screen. I have some slides prepared for you. Some of the words I'm going to use are big. You don't have to know them all. I'm just going to help introduce you, but I'll explain as I go. And then we'll have a little bit at the end. So if you have questions, we can answer some of the questions you might have. Welcome to Cannabis 101. As I said, I'm Melanie Henry. I'm a certified cannabis educator and certified life coach and a founder with Discreet. The information offered in this class is for educational purposes only. The content provided is not intended to constitute or be a substitute for professional, legal, or medical advice. Always seek the guidance of legal counsel from an attorney about the current state of law in your location regarding medical cannabis. For medical conditions, please consult your physician or other qualified medical care provider with any information questions you have regarding any particular medical illness, injury, diagnosis, or treatment. I am not a doctor. I am an educator. So let's start with how hemp and cannabis are different. Both are plants within the cannabis sativa family. Although hemp's defining attribute has been its useful fibers, its most distinguishing difference is its THC content. The U.S. government passed the Farm Bill that defines hemp in legal terms by law. The 2018 Farm Bill, which is the law passed that really made there a difference. And it says that hemp must contain no more than 0.3% of THC by dry weight. So in other words, hemp is great for making fabrics, oils, textiles, and hempcrete, to name a few, but it doesn't have a significant THC content. And cannabis does. Cannabis has a higher THC content. It's grown for that purpose. but they really are the same plant. And to help illustrate that a little bit more, let's talk apples. We all know what an apple is, right? Like everybody knows what an apple is. How many types of apples are there? So according to Google, there are 7,500 different types of apples. Equally within the cannabis space, there are thousands of strains, or more accurately, chemovars. So do you suppose these apples all look or taste the same? Do any of these factors, however, make them less apples than their counterparts? There's a belief that hemp and cannabis and marijuana and all the other hundreds of thousands of names that have been come up for it are all different things. And in truth, they are as alike as these apples. The biggest difference is the legal definition given to hemp by the Farm Bill that we just spoke about. And remember, that says it's just that we can't have more than 0.3% THC by dry weight. Each chemovar offers a different experience and or variety, just like with apples. To truly understand cannabis and how it works with our own system, we need to learn about the endocannabinoid system, or the ECS for short. Have you ever heard of your endocannabinoid system? Most people haven't. The endocannabinoid system first developed about 600 million years ago in the sea squirt. We all have an endocannabinoid system. More accurately, human beings, fish, reptiles, earthworms, leeches, amphibians, birds, all mammals, and most plants have a built-in biological system that can receive, process, and use the compounds in cannabis. In other words, our systems are hardwired to use the compounds found in the cannabis plant. The cannabinoids our bodies make are called endocannabinoids. Endo meaning from within. When they are made by the plant, they are referred to as phytocannabinoids, phyto meaning from a plant. So if that's the biggest distinction there between the cannabinoids. However, most people, including many of our doctors for that matter, have little knowledge or understanding of how the endocannabinoid system actually works. Dr. David B. Allen said that the discovery of the endocannabinoid system is the single most important scientific discovery since the recognition of sterile surgical techniques. As our knowledge expands, we are coming to realize that the endocannabinoid system is a master control system to virtually all of our physiology. The endocannabinoid system is an extensive network of neurons, neural pathways, receptors, cells, molecules, and enzymes that work tirelessly throughout your body to maintain homeostasis. This is a vital function to our bodies. Homeostasis is a stable internal environment despite fluctuations in the external environment around it. Homeostasis helps plants and animals to maintain this stable internal and external environment, creating the best conditions for operation. It is essential for our normal cell function, and it enables cells to extract information important from the environment, shuttles signals between body parts, and manages the levels of chemicals within our bodies like oxygen, carbon dioxide, water, and salt. When homeostasis is unsuccessful, imbalance can begin, and it can lead to death if not addressed properly, making this such a vital process within the body. These imbalances can present themselves through autoimmune disorders, fibromyalgia, migraines, irritable bowel syndrome, to name a few, and have been associated with what the Mayo Clinic has deemed endocannabinoid deficiency. And our endocannabinoid system is essential to life's basic processes. As noted by the Italian researcher Vincent Di Marzo of the National Research Council and editor of several books on cannabis, the endocannabinoid system is essential to life's basic processing by relaying messages that affect how we relax, eat, sleep, forget, and protect. In other words, the endocannabinoid system is responsible for two major functions in our body. First, it regulates pleasure, energy, and well-being, while secondly, restoring bodily balance in the face of external stressors, whether they be physical, emotional, or psychological. The total effect of the endocannabinoid system is to regulate homeostasis and prevent our disease and aging. The endocannabinoid system was discovered fairly recently. In 1988, Dr. Alan Howlett and her colleagues at the St. Louis University Medical School discovered the first cannabinoid receptors. Using advanced scientific techniques with radioactive dye attached to a synthetic THC, the researchers were able to track the path of THC and see where it interacted within our bodies. They observed that it selectively attached itself to specific receptors that had previously been called orphan receptors, because up until this point, no one knew what their function was. So up until 1988, far after we have taken cannabis out of our medical books and it's been removed from, general population, we discovered that we actually have an endocannabinoid system. Excuse me. Dr. Howlett's team had stumbled upon the endocannabinoid system, an entire system that was believed to have been created and orphaned by our body, similar to our beliefs about the appendix. The cannabinoids in hemp and cannabis stimulate these same receptors. CB1 and CB2 receptors are the name of the receptors that interact with that are responsible for the endocannabinoid system. But the endocannabinoid system is not a lone wolf, meaning that it is not a self-contained system. The endocannabinoid system interacts robustly with other non-cannabinoid systems, like the endorphin system, the immune system, and the vanilloid system. This system is really important for pain patients because it's what is responsible for changing pain from acute into chronic. The endocannabinoid system regulates inflammation, pain, bone health, formation of new nerve cells, fat, sugar processing, mood, energy, brain health, and even hormone balance. These receptors are distributed throughout the central nervous system and within many other tissues, including the brain, gastrointestinal system, reproductive and urinary tracts, the spleen, the endocrine system, the heart, and circulatory system. The endocannabinoid system is a complex regulatory system, broad in its function, as you can see. The endocannabinoid system holds three principal elements. The CB1 and CB2 receptors, the cannabinoids, either made by the body or from the plants. And remember, the difference is the endocannabinoids are produced within and the phyto are from the plants. And then there are enzymes, and those enzymes either synthesize or metabolize the cannabinoids that either our body has made or that we have consumed. Cannabis's ability to cross the blood-brain barrier indicates that there are endocannabinoid receptors in the brain, which your neurological system uses to maintain optimal health. The blood-brain barrier is a barrier consisting of cells that prevent bacteria or large or water-loving molecules from crossing into our central nervous system. The endocannabinoid system modulates humans' perception of pain, memory, learning, inflammation, immune response, digestion, appetite, mood, blood pressure, bone health, and the protection of neural tissue, among others. The kind of effect that is produced depends on the type of cannabinoid that we have introduced to our systems. Each strain, or more accurately, chemovar, contains a long list of cannabinoids that create euphoria, treat pain, increase heart rate, and generate drowsiness, among other effects. These effects are what's behind the health benefits of the cannabinoids. How cannabis will make you feel depends on the type and concentration of the cannabinoid it contains. Thus enter what we call the big six. These are the most studied and the most prevalent chemicals within the cannabis plant, and they are THC, CBD, CBG, CBC, CBN, and THCV. Except for THC and CBD, the rest are considered minor cannabinoids, which means that they have a concentration of less than 1%. You do see THCA and THC and CBDA on some labels. They're the chemical precursors, the acidic form of CBD and THC, and are also considered minor cannabinoids. And we have just really started doing more research on those acidic forms, so there isn't as much information out there, but we're really finding some interesting things. I want to talk a little bit about why THC is so important. There are a lot of people seeking out CBD and really trying to avoid THC or other cannabinoids because of fear of stories they've been told, fear of being high, what that means, how that feels. There's been a lot of dogma put around that. While this can and does happen with THC, it's also important to understand the vital role that THC plays within our receptor system. Think of THC as a key, and these receptor systems being the lock. The THC opens the lock when it binds into those receptors. Then the CBD can stick to the sides of the receptor for better availability to the body. And this requires very small amounts of THC to help CBD work better within our systems. Another question I have spent 11 years, it took me 11 years to get the answer to, was, can you overdose on cannabis and why? We have already discussed that we have endocannabinoid receptors in our brain. One of the brain regions that does not express CB1 receptors is the actual brainstem region. This is responsible for our respiration and our circulation. It is considered your autonomic nervous system. It literally runs on automatic. It requires our brain doesn't we don't think about it. It's just happening in the background like your computer all the time, which is the primary reason why cannabis overdose does not cause respiratory depression and death, both of which are possible with an opioid overdose. Therefore, no one has ever reported a fatal overdose with cannabis. Yet now we can see why there are so many opioid overdoses and death associated with those opioids. Other side effects are linked to the method of ingestion, whether you're inhaling, whether you're digesting, or sublingual delivery under the tongue. Each method has a different time it takes to kick in and the duration of the experience, and not necessarily always the compounds involved. Now that we have a better understanding of the plant and how it really works within our bodies, let's talk about safety and choosing good quality medicine and really why that's so important. You may have heard people talk about a COA, a certificate of a certificate of analysis is a document that communicates the results of a scientific test done on a product, such as foods or drugs. A COA also lists the chemicals used in the product's manufacturing and testing, and is created to ensure that all the important regulations are met and in compliance. The main purpose of a COA is to assure customers, manufacturers, and suppliers that the product they are dealing with meets their agreed upon standard. A COA is provided by the manufacturer and is based on their capabilities and internal quality standards, the customer's needs and targets, and if applicable, governing quality standards of the manufacturer's city or county or country. It also assures that what the company says is in the product is there and in the amounts that they are claiming. These tests are also include testing for dangerous chemicals such as pesticides and molds, neither of which do we want to be introducing into our systems. And because the cannabis plant is what we consider a bioaccumulator, this means that the plant absorbs anything that is in the soil or the water or anything that's put into that plant, it's absorbing and making part of itself. Making these tests vital in ensuring we're consuming really clean, well-made products. There's power in knowledge, especially when we're talking about the science of a plant and how it works. When I'm not teaching, I'm working with private clients to teach them in a cannabis-friendly environment and help them find their ideal dose, as well as improve their overall health and wellness. Like I said, I did not choose cannabis. It chose me, and it saved my life. I'm also grateful to Nate and Eric for having me here, and all of you for joining. If you would like more information, have questions, or need a guide on your cannabis journey, these are the places that you can contact me and see what I'm doing and what's happening in the future.
Thank you so much, Melanie and Eric as well. Your story and knowledge is so inspiring, and it needs to be heard. Thank you so much again for being on. What jumped out to me is, when I'm listening to your story is how you found your solution. But what I admire about you is you didn't stop. You wanted to learn, hey, why did this work? How did it work for me? And then once you learned it, you said, I want to share and help other people. And that's, why you became an instructor, I assume.
It absolutely is. When a doctor tells you to your face, you will not walk in a year. And you have to, and there are people that we're going to deal with. I know our company is a microdosing company. And really, from a coach's perspective and a medical perspective, those are great for most people. These microdoses are really minimum effective doses that people get great relief with. Now, you are going to run into people that they need Herculean doses. If you were dealing with cancer, this might not be the thing. But people who have anxiety and depression or are dealing with minor aches and pains, it's such a great way for them to get quality medicine. And, when I started my journey, I went to the doctor. They said, here are drugs, take them, go home, do your thing. No one ever told me I had a choice. I didn't know. It was something I didn't know. I didn't grow up in a situation. I grew up in a household that if you do the marijuana, you go to jail and we throw you out. That was the conversation of my childhood. So it wasn't, I came to it as a 37-year-old adult looking for answers. And I have to share, because there's someone else in the world who wants to walk in a year. And we're 12 years later, and I'm still walking, and my quality of life is better than it's ever been because I decided to take control.
That is so incredible. And just the fact that you want to help other people is really inspiring, and it's exciting to help others. And when I was listening again, to your story, I couldn't help but think of all those people out there that are searching for an answer. They want some help. They don't know where to turn, and maybe they're on some medications they don't want to be.
Yes.
So thanks for sharing and not keeping, what's helped you so much a secret.
It just has been, when Lori introduced me to Nate, I was very skeptical. I mean, the poor man got interrogated. Because I've been looking for a company for about 7 years, because I have a lot of people come to me and say, okay, what do I start with? Because the laws vary from state to state to state, you can't take what we would call traditional cannabis over state lines legally. The discrete products, I talked to Nate. We had a very long, in-depth, sciencey, nerdy conversation. And I'm big on COAs, because that was, for a long time, the only answer I had was get good COAs. Make sure your cannabis is clean. In the conversation with Nate, I love discrete. It is so in alignment with my personal mission and what I do. It is done with integrity. If you know Nate and Eric and you spend time with these people, this is a passion project for all of us. And it aligns with my greater passion to help people feel comfortable choosing what's best for their journey. And so I'm really grateful, and you can get in our back office and you can see our COAs and you can talk to people if you have questions. It's so supportive and in alignment that I'm just grateful to be here and to help you all learn.
Yeah, it's really been a long time waiting for a company like Discreet. And as most of you know, today's class sponsored by Discreet, and we have an opportunity, or everyone in 49 states that's over the age of 21 has the opportunity to have Discreet products delivered right to their front door. And I'm really grateful for that. And I'm excited to hear more and more stories like yours and how we can affect and help other people with knowledge, understanding, and, relieving some of the discomfort, maybe helping, assist people with sleep, just taking the edge off. Helping relationships potentially, and families just to cope with everyday life that we all deal with. So,
and it's a great companion for exercise. It's a great companion to spiritual practices to help us connect with ourselves.
Yeah. So if anyone wants more information about Discreet products and get more detail on our products, just so you know, every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on this exact same link, discreetzoom.com, we do a full overview of, our products, the story. We hear from Nate, our founder, on why he wanted to bring Discreet to the world and how it is the first direct sales company to be a microdose company, and how there's not only an opportunity to help, relieve some discomfort, but also relieve some discomfort financially too. So there's an opportunity there for people just by sharing Discreet product and helping people. Discreet says thank you by sending referral thank yous in the form of financial rewards directly to us. So yeah, please join us, 7 p.m. again, Mountain Standard Time on the same link, Discreet Zoom, every Tuesday night. So before we wrap up, does anyone on the call today have any questions for Eric or Melanie about their journey, our products, or cannabis in general?
Absolutely.
You can unmute yourself, or you can type it in the chat box as well. I love what you say there, Lori, about, the stigma. It is really interesting how, when you look back at the history of cannabis, it used to be so important to the founders of our country. They were actually required to grow it because there's so many uses. And it's really just been the past 100 years that there's been this stigma that's growing.
And if you look even further back, cannabis is listed in Assyrian, Greek, Roman texts as medicine and how they use it. every culture that has written text has used cannabis in their, they have different words for it. And within the Egyptian pyramids, almost all of the medicine women had pouches around their necks that they found that had viable cannabis seeds from their era.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Yeah, when you really get into the history, you can really uncover some stigma. And I think that as we learn about these products and we talk about them, if we have some education and some science behind it, it is still much easier to have a conversation with someone based on science than hearsay and stigma and all of those other things. When we can really be like, you have an endocannabinoid system, let me teach you about it. That's very different than, hey, let's go behind the park, bench and do something naughty. We're grown-ups and we live in a very stressful world. And I would dare say that stress is the number one killer of all of us. And the one thing that can help with stress is managing our nervous systems and introducing calm into our lives. So this is really in very much alignment with that.
Yeah, it really truly is needed for so many people, not just people that want it, or recreational. There's a lot of people that really need this, and it's going to help a lot of people. So if there's no one that has any questions today beyond this, I just want to say, thank you so much, Eric and Melanie. Your story is awesome and inspiring. I just love it. Thank you. Thank you.
Somebody asked how I use discreet in my live classes like today will eradicate that, I hope, in the near future. How do I use discreet? Sure. So I love discreet. I use all of the products, actually. I don't use sleep all the time. I use sleep occasionally.
Yeah. Relief is my favorite. That's my go-to on a regular basis. And even working in the industry, I have an abundance of cannabis-related items around me at all times. I still go for the relief at night.
We haven't used a Tylenol or an ibuprofen in my house since we got relief.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Just I use the gummies for my pain when I've had enough or I've stressed too far, and I literally keep the chills in my purse because I'm running a coaching practice and a discreet business, and I'm super busy. And it helps me, like before I got on the call this morning, I did my meditation, I took a few breaths and took a chill pill because it just helps me be more genuine and let all the, I think it really helps us let our ego go and let us really stay in that authentic place.
Yeah, that is well said. My wife likes to take a chill every time we're going to go to a larger social.
Absolutely.
Put her in the right mindset, just relax a little bit. We both take sleep every night. It would not be without it. She will not let me run out of sleep no matter what.
Oh, I get low and I get anxious. I'm like, I need to we're almost out of relief. I can't do that because I can take a relief and go walk in the park with my granddaughter and my kids, and I can come home and it don't flare up as easy. It's really become an integral part of my daily habits.
One thing I didn't understand or appreciate when I first started using discreet was we have 4 products, but we have 4 amazing products. We don't just have only 4 products. And when I looked at it, I was thinking, when I really understood it, it's not like we have 4 flavors of gummies, right?
Yeah.
We have very specific products that were formulated by Nate Farnsworth, who's been formulating for over a decade. And each product has a very specific use and is used in a different way. And the cannabis is like the catalyst and does the heavy lifting. But it's the formulation that is put together that makes, relief work the way it does and sleep work the way it does, and the gummies and of course chill. So they're all very unique and used for different things. And I really appreciate that. And I'm excited to see what is on the horizon as well with new products coming.
Oh, I'm so excited. And Rye Fry, I'm going to call you that. If that's not your name, I'm sorry. That's what I see. ADHD is absolutely for most people, understanding that, like we said, your endocannabinoid system is as unique as your fingerprint. Everyone's has different needs. It has shown great promise for ADHD and helping focus and relax. And how, for me as a coach, and I work in this education space, how I introduced Discreet is all of my clients that come to me as patients, we start out, I give them a sample kit as part of their beginning with working with me. And I start out with my story. You know, I just talk about, you know, a little bit about how it's helped me. It kind of diffuses people's resistance because I don't look like some drugged out, strange person. I'm educated, I'm well-spoken. I think having a story, maybe if you don't have a personal story, start talking to people, you know, use the products and gain a personal story, because that's how we connect with people most. And listen to other people's stories when they tell you, oh, my hips hurt every night. Oh, I don't sleep. I'm so tired. I called in late to work for the 4th time because I can't sleep. Use that as a way to, for me anyway, I use that as a way to be like, hey, this might be helpful for you.
I love it. And that's really similar to me as well, Melanie, is I want to get the product in people's hands so they can see it and feel it, because I've never experienced a product that was natural like this, that you could feel in 15 minutes or an hour, or your first night you take it when you go to bed at night, wake up in the morning, you know it works. You're not taking a product for 90 days and then doing a blood test so a blood test can tell you if it's working or not. This is something that works immediately.
And they aren't so strong that they're taking on this hold on to the grass for 12 hours trip that you really did not sign up for.
Right. Yes.
So they're really balanced that way.
Well, thanks again, all of you, for making it here on a Saturday morning and, you know, enhancing your lives and learning from some amazing people and hearing the story. And Eric and Melanie, thank you again so much for being here. You guys are awesome, and look forward to, you know, helping more and more people and sharing your story and education. So.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
If you have any other questions that come up, you know, you can always reach out to the Discreet group. I'm on there, or you can message me and I'd be happy to help you fill in any educational gaps.
Perfect. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you Tuesday night.
Okay, take care.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.